Hey Sagittarius, how's it going? Welcome to your reading. Welcome to the space. Hope everyone's doing pretty good. So, this is going to be your transformation reading. Huge transformation going on throughout the zodiacs, and it's your turn. Um, Basically, going to be looking at your past, your present, your transformation, and then your future. And then once this lights up, I'll show you the decks. It's going to be the Prism Oracle. One card from the Prism Oracle. Let's see what this is. Ow. One from the Prism Oracle, one from... I can't pick up all the cards. One from the Hermetic Tarot. Ooh, you got the Emperor. I like that. And then you got... the Cross. This is from the... We're going to be doing one from the Lenormand as well. So, it's like, these are so hard to light, but I'll get it. Okay, right. I like the smell of this, it's so good. Okay. It kind of smells like camp sometimes. Oh. You got stop at the bottom, and I know why. It's because I've been trying to avoid this card. It comes up so much and it confuses me sometimes, but that's besides the point. Either ways. I was like trying to get rid of it. I was like, I don't want to see this card for at least a week. But I couldn't help but pick it up, so let's see what's up for you guys for your transformation. Let's see. What do we have for Sagittarius in the past? Oh, we've got sadness. Oh, Sag. Let's see. Well, there's sadness, and at the bottom we've got energy. That's really good. I wanted to see maybe what that sadness could be about, but I definitely feel like just going through a little bit of rough waters in the past, possibly. What do we have for Sag in the present? Wow. Passion, which is literally the same color as the energy card, so I had to take it. Passion? That's really nice. That's I don't know if you know my blue and red spiels I would be on about all the time, but it's like blue would be the sort of towards the end of the progression of the rainbow, so maybe the end of a cycle, and red starts off the beginning of another one. So it's like, it feels like in the past going to the present, you're maybe starting a whole new cycle, and this is passionate. This is there's a reflection, so it feels reflective. It also kind of feels like a flower, so blooming. Maybe you and someone else are blooming at the same time. But it's definitely passionate. Like a new... Oh, yep. So definitely you reflecting somebody or something, some situation being reflecting. I feel like you and someone else are blooming at the same time. That's really cute. What do we have for Sag's... A bunch like flying, and I want to make sure I get this clear. What do we have for Sag's transformation? It's okay. Trust. And back to a blue. So, blue back to red, back to blue. And this is lighter though. So maybe at the end of a cycle, starting a brand new one, and maybe something feels like it's coming full circle as well. You see that? Yeah, that's also like the circle's almost connecting, but it feels like it's coming full circle, as in like the end. You're coming back to, because maybe in the past there was sadness, but you see how these would reflect. They're like the same color, but it almost feels like, so it's like in the past, what you're dealing with, your transformation may be the same as what you've dealt with in your past, and you may be revisiting that cycle, but on a different consciousness, on a different level, so you're able to handle it differently. And with trust here, it definitely feels like you're handling it in a way that's connecting you to your whole self. So I think it's just a huge transformation because you've dealt with this before and you're having to solve it. It feels like some sort of it's like, because before it's stressful because it's like solving maybe some sort of a, I don't want to say pattern, because when I think of this, I think of a circle, I think of 9, I think of patterns, cycles. So just maybe like overcoming a very tough cycle. It may have to do with sadness, and it may have to do with sparking yourself back up after a time like that. But I think, and you see how they're still mirroring, they're still reflecting. I think this transformation is so beautiful because you're not only overcoming a cycle, but you are doing it alongside someone who you may or may not know, but you're doing it alongside someone. And I think the reward also for this transformation is that someone. Because look at that heart. It's one heart right there. That's really sweet. Okay, so let's see what we got for the future for Sagittarius. Sagittarius, what's in your future? If you could see it, you might think life would be a dream. Okay, so we talked about this because I wanted to avoid this card completely, so much, but and I literally was gonna leave it out of the deck, but I was like, no, dude, that's like way too much control. But it just because especially for the reading, I didn't want to give you guys I didn't want to give you guys because I usually take it out for myself and I'll just read a bit and I'll get over that. But I didn't want to take out. You guys get all the cards, see all the opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So it's just funny that this motherfucker. Sorry, excuse me, but then also look at this. What the hell? I don't have to explain that. I know you have what's going on with that. Why is it doing right in the head? What's at the bottom? Hunger. This one comes out a bunch. In the future, you have stopped. And I told you I don't like this because it confuses me. But I'm going to have to move past it. You see there's a crossroad. And maybe that's what maybe it feels. I'm feeling multiple ways with this now because it feels like maybe in the future there is a stop, which I like to call productive pauses. So maybe there's a time where you have to take a productive pause to really tell yourself stop, because maybe you really want to go, but you might have to tell yourself stop. But then also, right, because I mean, think of a stop sign, which is what I'm looking at right now. You stop for just a sec, and the reason why you stop for just a second is so that so that everyone who needs to cross is safe. You do it for a collective reason. This might have to do with the group. This might have to do. There's a stop in the future. There's a crossroads. There's a decision. There's a point. And the reason why you make this decision, this cross point, is not just for you. It's for the good of everyone else around you. You yourself as well, because you don't want to get hit. Like, right, if you're crossing, you stop. You don't want to move past it and someone comes across and you get hit. Right? There's there for a reason. Stop signs are there for everyone, of course, but they're there for you too. You don't want to get hit. There's something in the future, and I told you the stop card's weird. But I think, if anything, it's a really good stop. Because maybe, and I'm going to have to get into that with tarot, because it's literally so vague. It almost is like the caution card to me sometimes. I'm just like, caution, stop, what the hell? Like, explain that. But I definitely always remember the X. So there are a lot of readers that talk, or one specifically, I'm thinking of Queen Cup, but there are some readers that also talk about like X and Y paradigms and like the parallels, and like these aren't parallels, they're crossing, but the parallels in life, right? And so it's just like, I mean, these would be parallel, you see. But the reason why I'm saying that is because this is an X, so it's just like in that. But I think when people think of X and Y, I think of like the life that you're living versus like your trajectory, a choice that you can make, right? So it's like you can continue moving on in the life and making the choices that you've been built off of, the ones that you've made your entire life. And that could be more negative than positive. It could be built off of ego, you know what I'm saying? Or you can decide to move your trajectory in another way where you make a choice. South node, north node, nature, nurture, do you know what I'm saying? So it feels like there's going to be a decision where it's like, are you going to move the way you've always moved, or are you going to bounce your trajectory somewhere else? Because sometimes that kind of a stop can really push you forward, and sometimes the push you forward can really stop you. Does that make sense? I hope. I don't know. It's weird, but I definitely feel that stop is important. It wanted to come out all day, and literally this morning when I tried to do this reading and it came out, I first of all didn't have enough time, so I felt like it was talking to me too. But then also it's just like, I hate this card for some. I'm sorry, but it's just so weird, and to get it, it's just so strange, especially after a whole like reading of passion, trust, and I was always like, stop. It's like confusing, if that makes sense. But now I'm seeing that it might be an important kind of a stop, like definitely an important decision. Let's see what we have with the tarot. What do we have for sadness? I want to jump straight to like stop to really understand it. But what do we have for sadness? The devil. And if you're new here, you know I'm a fan of the devil card. And if you're not new here, you know I'm a fan of the devil card. I saw Capricorn because that's what I initially thought because my moon is in Capricorn. So I always have to think about this card in a positive light if I want to keep my emotions good. That's why I always talk about it in that good light. It's for survival. That's what I feel kind of here. So maybe survival through hard work. And when I see Capricorn, I think of lessons. I think of work. I think of the hard lessons that bring out the best diamonds, the best. So I feel like there's, and I mean, and I won't. Now my imagination is making me think they're like crying a diamond. But do you see what I'm saying? It's like this hard work is almost like nurturing. And when I think of Capricorn, I think of like Earth as well. So I feel like these tears have been nurturing your growth. I think there's been some really tough work dealing with sadness. And with the double too, it's also what matters to you. So maybe the things that do matter. So maybe I don't want to say it, but then like, well, because okay, so that's Mars in Capricorn. No, Mars and Saturn. Action, discipline. Yeah, so it feels like maybe it feels like some lessons have whipped you into like some sort of a discipline and whipped you into some sort of sadness, and it could have felt like you just kept getting hit with sadness for no reason, and that's a really awful thing sometimes, and I feel like it was made up of things that you definitely could handle, and you're strong enough to handle for sure. But with that Mars there, it's definitely more so about like what action were you willing to take to get out of that sort of a situation? What mattered to you with the devil? What is it that you value? What is it that matters? You know? Because if moving forward matters to you, then you might put in the work. But I mean, you don't have to put in the work. You can still sit in the sadness. But you see, it's all up to you. It's a choice. It's because devil is a 6 as well, and that's the lovers, which is about a choice, which is about man, which is why the it's just interesting. It's just about it's definitely like what action are you gonna take? What action? It feels like you did, and I'm asking you what action would you take, and I'm not even like it's like not even a question. This is in the past. I'm totally just like seeing that now. You took some hard work and action to get out of the sadness, and I think the sadness was no joke. Lastly, on this, I'm thinking of the devil's like Earth, and now when I think of Earth, I think of like a prison because this place is literally somewhat of a prison, and so I feel like the sadness could have been a huge prison, and so now I'm thinking of Shawshank. So it's just like it's like now this is what it feels like. It feels like this has been a bit of a Shawshank redemption moment for you. It feels like maybe you've been locked up into some sort of sadness that had nothing to do with you, that was just sort of put on you. And first of all, I'm so sorry about that. But then also definitely it's just like that wasn't yours. And the awful part about it was maybe you still probably had to work through it. And I think that's made you ultimately so much stronger than you ever could have imagined that you would have been, and stronger than a lot of the people around you, for fucking sure, stronger than a lot of people around you, especially emotionally. But I think that just 100% that was not a lot of yours. But I mean, the people who probably went through this before you, the reason why it probably was put on you is because the people before you didn't put in that action to release themselves from that emotional prison, but you fucking did. I'm trying not to like so much, but it's like there's, especially with passion here, that's what it is. That's what it is. I'm back in the fire energy. I'm back in my hometown. But that's what it feels like. Let's see what you have with passion in the present. I always love the alliteration. The Eight of Wands. Babe, that's your card. That's awesome. That's awesome. The Eight of Wands. You're moving. Oh, you're moving forward. That's also what. That's Mercury and Sagittarius. Yeah, it's a straight movement because Mercury is movement, connection. Sagittarius is so you're aiming for something and you're moving towards it. And Sagittarius is again man meets animal in a sense, if you know what I'm saying, like the centaur. So it feels like again that nature nurture. It's like you are an native. I just got there's so much. So nature nurture. It's like taking action, maybe changing your communication from maybe changing the way you talk to yourself and maybe changing the way you talk to other people. This feels like a way. This feels like that trajectory. You know what I was talking about in the stop card. I was like, you can go boom or you can go boom, and I think that this is what's happening right now. You were in a bit of a low, but you're changing your trajectory in the present right now. Remember, we got the cross at the beginning too with the lenormand. Look at that, babe. That's a Six of Wands. And the lenormand is what I mean. That's the Six of Wands. But anyways, also I was gonna say the Eight of Wands is not just movement. With passion, that's literally the same. It could be the same card. You know, there's a ton of cards that could be passion, but Eight of Wands is definitely one of them. But it definitely feels like because Eight of Wands isn't just movement. I like to say it's a lot because it's important because you move and you can trip real easily. But it's about listening to yourself first. And a lot of people ask like, well, I mean, like, what do you really do to just like I don't that doesn't make sense. You know, like just listen to yourself. And I mean, I've also said the same sort of thing, and I still say the same thing every day because it's still kind of confusing. But it's more so like it's nothing. It's your own individual process because that's what it's about. It's your soul, it's your spirit, it's your own individual process. The only thing that really is like sort of necessary is to take a pause. That's what is saying with stop. You know, that's where you get the Eight of Wands energy is from that stop, and that's why the Eight of Wands is so important. Or that's why the stop is so important. Like there is movement, but everything in life has balance. So if you want this fast movement that everyone likes in the Eight of Wands, you're gonna have to take that fast pause and really take a step back. Because if you don't take a step back, you're not gonna listen. If you're like people can multitask, but you're not really listening if you're talking. You're not really breathing if you're moving that fast. You are, but you know what I'm saying? There is an important pause to really sit with yourself and listen. But I mean, even if it takes 2 minutes, 2 days, 2 weeks, as long as you sit with yourself and, I don't know, meditate, listen to music, cook, whatever you do that feeds your soul, it'll feed you right back and propel you. But you have to take that pause, and I think that's what's going on in the present. Or you've taken that pause, and that passion is kicking up for you right now. Is either one of those two, but it's definitely like passion is kicking up, and you're moving. And again, like I said, it was reflecting. Eight of Wands is reflecting here too, because it's 4 of Wands. So maybe two people who feel stable in their actions, reflecting each other. Two people who feel stable in their soul, in their mission, in their fire. Do you know what I'm saying? In their calling, possibly. Maybe also getting to people who are feeling more stable in their home. It's just something that has to do with like maybe 4 of Wands people. You know, the reflection. Something about that, because there's a lot of reflection energy here. Reflection literally came out. So what do we have with trust in your transformation? What is that about? I don't know. It never ceases to amaze me, but I just have to like, what's at the bottom? The Hermit. That's nice. But death in your transformation for trust, guys. You don't have to, but if you want to, if you feel any other sign, go back and watch. This card doesn't. There are 78 cards in the tarot, and I'm gonna chill out because I don't want it to like. I don't want to scare the energy away, but it's just there's 78 cards in the tarot. There's 50 in this Lenormand. There's a ton in blah blah blah, and there's even one in the prism, and they all want to show their face. I think this is the maybe first or second time this one's showing its face in the hermetic tarot, in the hermit tarot, but trust and death. What I'm honestly feeling, and this is so metaphorical, but it's like a moment where it's like there is nothing to do but let this process happen. I think it could be, I'm feeling it multiple ways. First way I felt is maybe this is a relationship, and then you're having to trust the other person. You're having to trust, and now I'm hearing the reason why you have to trust the other person is because it comes from trusting yourself first. And so you think maybe you're having a hard time trusting someone else. You're having a hard time trusting other people. You're having a hard time trusting your significant other, and it's like maybe you're reflecting and realizing you would maybe have a bit more clarity if you knew what it was like to trust yourself. Maybe that is a new concept, or maybe you're trying to learn to trust yourself better. But I know for a fact that if you're reflecting someone and there's a trust process, that for sure that this transformation is a letting go, where it's like the metaphor I was going to say was like if death, I don't know, if death was happening, it would be more trusting that the okay, no, I want to bring it lighter, and I just saw a butterfly, so beautiful. Like if you were a caterpillar, and you were in the cocoon and it's just dark as hell. It's like not even about like the butterfly process, because that's beautiful as well, of course. But this is more so about trusting and knowing that that thing is that it's gonna split open at some point, and you're gonna see the light. Um, this is what it's about. Like it's the trust that life will be renewed, trust that, and this is so much about trust and faith, and I mean you can only do so much, and that's not, I said it in the wrong way. You've done a beautiful job, and that's why you're getting death here, because it's no longer up to you. And that's the beautiful thing, because they're telling you just how much work you've done, that they're willing to step in a universal major arcana to come in and 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 shower you with the death and rebirth process, so that you can come out something so beautiful and whole on the other side. Really cleaning out a lot of the things that you did not really like or resonate with. Maybe things that, again, nature nurture, things that maybe were put on you that just didn't belong to you. Things that maybe tainted your trust in people. Oh, babe. Oh, man, that makes my heart sad. It does. And maybe like it made it hard to trust yourself as well. Because because within, without, if it's me, it's you, if it's you, it's me, that sort of stuff. It's like, when people are nothing but gigantic ass mirrors. I say adults are nothing but big ass kids, because it's true. But again, people are nothing but just big ass mirrors. And it's for a good reason. Y'all walking around talking about treat your neighbor as you like to treat yourself, right? And it's like you want everyone to be treated nicely, so you realize what kind of a process you're gonna have to take to, if people acting like, if look at America now, if you want that kind of thing to happen where everyone's treating each other sort of in a kind-ish way, that's a huge death process. People are gonna have to, I don't know, let's see what we got to stop. It's just people ask for things and then forget just how much of a process it's gonna really take to get that. Which is not a bad thing, but because that's where the devil is. It's like, does it matter? Do you care about it? So then, what are you willing to do? That's why I fucking love the devil card. Because yeah, it's negative, but so is everything else. So is everything else. 50-50 for everything. Balance, babe. All right. So what do we have with stop in the future? Because this is interesting. And the Queen of Wands. She's feeling Sagittarius today. She usually feels like Aries and sometimes Scorpio. Don't ask me why, but it's a feeling in the pit of my stomach. But she's feeling Sag today. This is Pisces and Aries with stop. Pisces and Aries, I say, is imagination meets action. Right, so this is it. This is the imagination, the meditation, getting into your music, getting into whatever makes you feel passionate, getting into whatever makes you feel good about yourself. That's how you attract in that movement. You are the Queen of Wands. You have to take no. I was shuffling and I saw the King of Wands at the bottom. I didn't bring him up because he's Sag, like for sure, and Leo and all that, But with the Queen of Wands, you don't have to do anything. Like, of course, you put in the work on the inside. You take care of your heart. You take care of your soul. You take care of your mind. You keep all that intact. But this moment in the future is not about taking any sort of action. With stop in the Queen of Wands, for sure. For sure. I'm seeing that for sure now, because the Queen of Wands, she attracts, she brings in. So I think in the future, your best bet is going to be to get into whatever makes you feel good about yourself. You know, get into whatever feeds your soul. Get into whatever is like fun for you, whatever makes you feel like a kid, whatever makes you feel like your best times, whatever makes you feel the hottest, the sexiest, because y'all are hot and sexy. Don't even get it twisted. So this is a good time in the future because I feel like you don't even realize you're gonna get just exactly what you want, and all you were doing was making you. And I'm looking at the word pretty woman right now in this nail polish. So I don't know, pretty woman out there or man, you know, and pretty men could be pretty. You know what I'm saying? Pretty people. That's you in the future. What did I say about the Eight of Wands and how it's reflecting with the Four of Wands? I think somebody thinks you pretty people. You know, did you hear what I just said? Because I ran it back and I heard it, but I still didn't. I think that somebody thinks you are a pretty person. No. As soon as I said it, I knew. Somebody thinks you are a pretty person, and if you're in a relationship, yeah, it's definitely you and your person. Like, and I think it's like again the death process. They think you're even like you're like what's the word? Like you're glowing up even more so, and they're like, how the hell is this even possible? And if you're meeting someone new, it's just like whoa, Snow Allegra, whoa, is what I'm thinking. You know that song? That's what I'm feeling. That's what they're feeling towards you. Let's see. Sagittarius, y'all brought in some fire and some spice today. Some spice. Clarifying with the Lenormand. What do we have with sadness? Oof, sadness and the devil. I see sadness and the devil. And again, I'm a Capricorn moon, so I'm like, that just feels like me. Which is why I don't look at it too bad, because I can't. If I do, I will drown. Let's see what we have. There's a fly. That's really rude. Okay. What the lily is a king of swords. Okay, so what do we have with sadness and the devil? The sun. Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles is a brand new opportunity, but I also definitely have to think of it because it's the pentacles on Earth, and again, the devil is what they would call the ruler of the Earth, and it's just, and y'all, you realize that we as men walk this Earth, the devil really kind of doesn't. So it's interesting when you think about the devil. It's like, is it an animal or is it a man? I got theories on that. I think it just be man, but we just paint it differently. But this Ace of Pentacles, Earth, it's important because Earth. It feels like the reason why we go through these lessons on Earth. I feel is because they hold value. They hold something that we can utilize. So that's what I feel the Eight of Pentacles is a lot. It could be a lesson that we learn on Earth, right? So I think that this sadness has been a lesson, a huge lesson for you. And I think with Mars, it really probably took down. It probably watered down your fire. It sucked you down to a sad part where it was like just hard to take action and move out of that sadness. And the tough part about it was I think there was no one who was gonna pull you out of that. There were people who could be there for you, and maybe you were able. Maybe at some point in your life people could pull you out of it before, but that was probably at a time where you were less yourself and more of like the nurture or nature. I can't remember which one, but you were more of the person who was ruled by other men and women around you. So it was less of an individual mindset, because that's what the devil is. It's an individual mindset. It's a self mindset. So it's less of a self mindset. You had probably more of a collective mindset. And so that's why maybe you're like, oh, I can be brought out of the sadness. But then once you got into your individual mindset, it was hard to pull yourself out of your sadness, because you had to really learn yourself and you had to do it on your own. But I think this was a huge lesson for you because it brought you victory. This is the victory card. Going from sadness, these clouds, to a bright sun, I literally know that you went through a lesson and brought the sun to yourself, brought clarity to yourself, brought structure to yourself. And with the time down here, it's like it definitely took some time. 10 years? I'm seeing, so 10 years, 1 year, 3 years, 13 years, 4 years. And also not just years, but those numbers, and then maybe months, days, weeks. But no, I feel years, because it's it feels like a while. It feels like a process. So what do we have with passion and the Eight of Wands? Oh, we got a bunch flying out. Just need one, please. Oh. And it came right back out. That's the fish. Passion and the Eight of Wands and the fish. That's a King of Pentacles. Okay, first of all, this is about social connections, authority. So now it's feeling King of Wands with King of Pentacles. So it's like, first of all, I'm feeling the King of Pentacles is a bit of a teacher energy for some reason right now. So it's like definitely like maybe you in the present you're teaching people how to use their passion in a way to maybe move out of some sadness. The King of Pentacles also, maybe you're moving into a new work environment. Maybe you're moving up in your authority. Like you're standing, you're gaining more authority, more standing, more, and it's from your passion. It's because you're taking such good care of yourself and you're feeding your own soul. I think you're feeding other people's soul too. That's what I feel, that teacher energy. But you're not even teaching them. That's what it is with about fire. It's like people see people. It's fire warms people on its own. You don't need to touch it to really feel it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what you just radiate is just teaching people how you hold yourself back, how you it's it you oh babe you it's like yours because it's the crosses here too. So it's giving spiritual, majorly spiritual, and it's like it radiates, especially in the present because it's like you feel like the kingfish here, and it's like a whole and wow, it's like a school of fish. So damn, that teacher energy is coming through, but it's like a teacher who doesn't even have to teach. It's a teacher who teaches by moving and breathing and existing. So maybe yeah, you do teach and like you do talk to people and you have an authority to make things move. But it's like even by you just walking into a room, not just walking into a room, but it's just like the way that you move and the actions that you take on your own is not really to do it for anyone else, but people are watching and people are taking note and they're liking it, and you're just living your life. That's beautiful. The letter, you might have some information coming in soon, some important information. So your transformation with death and we'll talk about death and trust. What's that about? What wants to come out? What wants to come out? The moon. Moon. Now, why does the sun come after the moon in this deck? That's interesting. Or the moon comes after the sun, so it goes the sun and the moon, because 32 now. Sun was 31. We got the mice at the bottom, the moon, and death. Yeah, you see how black and white and blue this feels? In the present, I just showed you all that red, and I even feel like I'm like, something about this feels just to not. Something about this feels like that felt like a warm summer day, and this feels like the nighttime of that same day, where you might have just as much of your passion and beautiful energy, but also this feels so individual. So maybe it feels like, oh my god, it really feels like how you. I don't know how to say that. It just really feels like trust and trusting other people. It feels like how you connect to other people. How, and like trusting other people. It's like maybe the way, even when you teach and you move, it's like even though you may be really influential to people, it's like maybe you really can't connect with them on like a deep level with the moon. You can't trust, or maybe you haven't been able to trust or connect or get deep with people, and I think it's, or maybe it gets too deep. Maybe there's just an imbalance here, it feels. And I think that, like again, like this nighttime, it's like you hang out with all these people and then you get back to yourself at night, and it's just like, I mean, I really only have, you maybe only have like yourself, a few other people to talk to, and there's just like, it feels like two different lives, because it's like two different like sets of colors, so two different lives. It's like, it's a beauty, it's like bright all day, and then at night, you still have your passion and your fire, but it's just darker. It's just like What would you say about that? One second. Oh, no, you're good. What's up?
It's the back tire.
Uh-oh, what's up?
On the driver's side. I can see it. The tread is coming off of it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see you after too. I'm gonna go look at that.
Not the tread, but like I can tell where the tire is wearing. And then when tomorrow you have to like leave a little bit early to stop at Wawa to put some air in that tire. Cause you know I paid for the thing, it's still showing a little air message. Yeah, I just have to try to get it. Hopefully you can pull it out this weekend.
That thing is so weird.
Hmm?
That low air thing, because I know what you mean, because I filled it up once.
Usually.
Well, because I remember I also filled it up once a very while, and not even since then, but even after I filled it up, it was like around the winter time when it was like that weird stuff, and it was still going off. And maybe that was because of the winter, but it was still going off. And now, like you said,
Because I think the tire's in batteries then.
well, yeah, I mean, even if you fill it up, it should go off.
Yeah, it'll go off temporarily, but as we keep driving it, if the air keeps going out, then that means the tire's messed up.
Oh, I just never seen it go off. Like, I've seen it continuously be there.
Yeah, it has been for like the past week. That's why I've been missing it so much.
Oh, hey.
Hmm?
She should be. I said, okay. She should be good.